A few years ago, I discovered a new hobby. The hobby was gardening. I gardened in pots, and I got a little obsessed with it. I was recently ordained a priest, but I didn't have a parish where I worked at. I was working with the brothers as a formator, so when the brothers were out for their classes, I was working in my garden. And I remember that there was a man a custodian that worked with us at home, and he told me, "Father, the plants don't grow faster because you look at them." And I learned a lot of things about plants, about taking care of plants, and I resonate with the words of the gospel today where Jesus says, "Cut out the branches that are not giving fruits and prune the ones that are giving fruit so that they give more fruit." I remember I grew tomatoes and lettuce, and I was always mindful of cutting things that weren't growing so that the energy of the plant would bring more fruit. And I was thinking about the line of pruning so that things give more fruit. And I thought about Paul in the first reading. Paul was pruned in many ways. Think about Paul's life. He faced persecution from the outside, and today he also faces misunderstanding and controversy with people within the church, those who wanted others Christians to be acting like Jews. And I started to think about how important it is for someone to be pruned so that this person can give fruit. And how true it is that the way that we're pruned is through suffering and persecution and misunderstandings. And if you look at the life of the saints, how many of them were they pruned through suffering and opposition and persecution? I think about Padre Pio. Didn't God prune him in such an intense way so that he could give an abundant fruit? And isn't it true that God also wants to prune each one of us so that our fruit is more precious and more abundant? Isn't it true that the contradictions in your life, the difficulties, the pains, the sufferings, the misunderstandings, don't they all contribute to your own pruning? Wouldn't it be fair to say that in a sense we are all plants in God's garden, and God in His own way is a master gardener who wants to prune us so that we may bear abundant fruit in our own life? But sometimes when God is pruning us or attempting to prune, we resist and we fight back and we say, "Don't cut that branch," or "Don't do that thing. I think it's better for me to keep it." So today, brothers and sisters, I want to ask you this question. How is God attempting to prune you so that you give more fruit? In what ways God, the master gardener, is pruning up the branches in your life that aren't giving fruit so that you may bear more fruit? Are you resisting His pruning? Are you fighting back? Are you thinking that you have better ways of pruning yourself? Today, brothers and sisters, I encourage each one of you and myself that we may surrender more deeply to God's work in our life, and that we may allow Him to prune us so that we may give abundant fruit.